Hey guys, I'm Shani and you're watching It's Style Theory. So today I'm talking about this week's episode of Pretty Little Liars. That is my mom in the background right there. Say hi, Mom!
Hi!
Okay, so this week's episode was called The Silence of Elam. So as usual, I'm going to do a quick review of the episode and then I'm going to talk about some new theories that I have. So let's get started. So in the beginning of the episode, the 5 girls are in the bathroom talking, and they're talking about like how Emily got attacked, how Allison got attacked, and how she's gonna cover up her scars, and they're talking about basically everything. And then we find out that Sydney was in one of the stalls listening the whole time, and I was just like, wow, when are they gonna find out that she is someone to look out for? Probably not for a long time, because why would they suspect Sydney? But as we now know, Sydney is working with Jenna and Mona. So we find out that Mona has been talking to Noel because she has his class notes like with her when she's walking down the hall.
He's in New York?
It's so hard filming when you have a family and you all live in the same house. So Arya starts volunteering at Radley because she's looking for clues on who the painting belonged to and stuff like that. She keeps having awkward encounters with Eddie. Last week I called him Andy and that is not his name. So she keeps having awkward encounters with Eddie, who is always seeming suspicious. He clearly wants to figure out why she's there, but she just tries to act normal, like, hey, I'm volunteering and stuff, leave me alone. So she finds out that one of the girls there was roommates with Bethany, and Bethany gave that girl the drawing that Arya has, and the girl thinks that Arya stole it and everything. She gives the girl the drawing back, but later on, she sneaks into that girl's room and she hides under her bed because the girl comes back when she's in her room looking around, and under her bed she finds the notebook with all of Bethany's drawings in them, and she takes that back home and she shows it to Spencer. So in the last episode we saw that Paige found a dead rat in her locker, but we don't know who put that there. But in this episode Melissa's back and she's letting her dad stay in her apartment, and she's gonna stay in the barn. So Melissa finds a dead rat in the barn, and it's like in a rat trap and she was throwing it away. So that makes me think that Melissa either put the rat in Paige's locker, or obviously she just had something to do with it. So Hannah and Caleb argue because she thinks that he's making bad choices. Caleb and Allie happen to be taking the same test. He's trying to leave high school, she's trying to get back into it. He kind of confronts Allie like, Allie, I never knew you, but I knew this tornado that you left behind at this high school, and that makes her mad. So she goes complaining to Hannah, like, can you please talk to Caleb? Basically, I don't need to recap the whole thing because we all saw the episode, but Allie was really annoying me in this episode. With the whole Allie versus Hannah war that we have starting here, I'm definitely on Hannah's side. Allie's being annoying. Ever since she came back, I understand that she's trying to be a different person, but she clearly feels, she still feels like she's entitled, and like the girls just have to listen to her, and like she gets to make every decision, and she still hasn't been completely honest with the girls about everything that happened to her while she was gone. So yeah, I'm taking Hannah's side. I completely understand how she feels. Allie shouldn't be telling Hannah what to do. Honestly, I think the girls should just be honest with their parents and with the police about what really happened in New York, but obviously the main problem with doing that would be Arya getting in trouble with the whole Shauna thing. So yeah. What do you guys think? Are you on Allie's side or Hannah's side? So yeah, that dinner that Emily, Hannah, and Allie had with Pam, Allie's story was so annoying, and I'm glad Pam wasn't buying it, and I'm glad that Hannah stood up for herself. And I think it's really interesting that later on Pam tells Emily that she's been talking to people at the police station, and I think that's a really interesting twist. And because yeah, even I thought there were problems with Allie's story. Come on, that's so unrealistic. She was blindfolded the whole time, never saw the person that kidnapped her, never got hurt or anything like that, and she was gone for like 1 or 2 years. So I guess that's why the detective lady wants to interview Allie because they're on to them. So Spencer helps Ezra move his boxes out of his apartment, and she's like, Ezra, can I borrow one of your cameras? And I was like, Ezra, you better say yes after all that you put them through. And he lets her, and she's gonna use it to spy on Melissa, which I actually think is a good idea because we know that Melissa is up to something. Spencer thanks Ezra for saving them on the roof, which is cool. Eddie finally just straight up asks Arya, what are you looking for at Radley? Like, why are you here? And she doesn't answer him. And then after she leaves, he makes a call. And later on, we find out that he scheduled to meet up with Ezra, but then never showed up. So, was he trying to get Ezra to be, like, out of his apartment so that Eddie could, like, go look in Ezra's apartment? Was Eddie trying to distract Ezra from something else that's going on? Because why would he schedule a meeting and not show up? Obviously the big question, what does Eddie have to do with all of this? Other than the fact that he knows everyone that's been at Radley. At this point, it's kind of hard to tell which side he's on, good side or the bad side. So Arya and Spencer look through Bethany's art book, and what they find is really freaking creepy. A lot of like drawings of Mrs. De Laurentiis with like evil horns on her head and like all these scary looking drawings, these dark drawings. Basically, from these drawings, what I got was that Mrs. D had been talking to Bethany, they knew each other, and Bethany did not like her, and Mrs. D probably was threatening her for some reason. Also, we see that Bethany knew about the death of Toby's mom, probably, based on one of the drawings, and so she either witnessed it or she was the crazy patient on the roof that pushed Toby's mom. Later on, Spencer and Melissa have a conversation, and honestly, it was just annoying for me. Like, every time Melissa opens her mouth, I'm just like, Melissa, be quiet. Like, ever since the show started, Melissa's just really annoying. She's my least favorite character. And ever since the show started, I haven't liked her, and I've known that she's been up to something ever since the show started. And she's the character that a lot of people have been suspecting since the beginning, but we have gotten the least amount of answers on. Sydney runs into Hannah at the cafe after Hannah gets kicked out of Emily's dinner, and Sydney gets Hannah to sit down and talk to her to sober up, when really we all know she wants to get answers out of Hannah when she's in a weak state, and she does, because Hannah slips and says New York and Shauna. So Caleb finds Hannah at the cafe, and at one point he says something to her like, these are his exact words. He says, I'm not the same person. I learned stuff about my family and me and the world. And I'm like, was that him addressing like everything that happened in Ravenswood? Is that all we're gonna get? Maybe. Then later on, Spencer, Arya, Emily, and Allison get a text from A that says something about Hannah's big mouth. And I'm like, so obviously Sydney's on the A team because Hannah was just talking to her. Or she is A, but I'm pretty sure she's just on the A team. And like I said a few reviews ago, I think the A team is Mona. I think that she basically recruited all of those kids to join the A team, whether they know it or not. What I think is, for that whole like last season, like all of season 4, where Mona was just acting normal and trying to like get back on the girls' good side and going back to school and going to therapy, I think that was all just her pretending because she knows how to pretend. She did it before. And I think the loser army is helping her, being her spies, being on the A team, doing what she says or whatever, because they don't like Allison. That's why they're doing it. I'm not saying that's Mona's motivation. Not quite sure how Melissa fits into this, but yeah, she definitely fits in somehow. A big thing that happened that wasn't in my notes for some reason, but I just remembered, Spencer catches Allie on camera, and she's dressed completely different than she was dressed at dinner, and she's wearing like a dark outfit, like a hoodie and stuff, and she's like in Spencer's backyard, and they're like, what in the world is she doing there? Why didn't she tell us? What is she lying to us about? And you already know what I'm thinking. Well, I'm thinking two things. One, Allie has a lot going on that she's not telling them about, or just something. Maybe she's gonna tell them about it, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's not a big deal. Or two, the twin theory. And there are a lot of ways the twin theory could play out. Obviously, Allie has an identical twin, if the twin theory is real. That was her twin. Or maybe The original Allie is still out there, and then the one that's back with them now is her twin, and she's not actually Allie. Or maybe they don't know about each other. It would be really cool if the twin theory was real. I think that would make the show really interesting, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. I kind of want it to happen. So the last shot of the episode is a scene of A opening an invitation for Pam and taking a picture of it. So we'll see what that's about in the next episode, maybe, possibly, or maybe not. Probably not. So that was my review of this episode. I liked it. I'm excited for next week. Comment your theories and thoughts on this episode in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe because I upload new Pretty Little Liar reviews every week. I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, can you keep a secret? In the beginning of the episode, an explosion happens in Toby's house. This actually happened at the end of the last episode. And then Toby runs in to see if anyone was in there. And then an even bigger explosion happens. But somehow Toby's okay. He does end up in the hospital, but he's okay.